Management gurus like to talk about the snow melting at the edges of an organization. It's an interesting concept and way of thinking about things. Many organizations are so big, they're so complex, they're distributed across many geographies, a lot of silos, a lot of measurements, a lot of complexity going on. Sometimes it can take a long time for leaderships at the various levels within an organization to actually become aware of the true implications of a technological or business model or competitive threat out there. Information and insights have to pass through different levels within the organization. They have to go through all kinds of filters. A lot of that data resides in spreadsheets and CRM systems, of course, in people's heads. It can take time to aggregate all of that and make sense of it, and then, of course, make a decision in order to try and do something about it, to try and shift the organization, and often by that time it's too late. In terms of that snow melting across organizations when it comes to generative AI, such as ChatGPT and others, that snow is going to melt really fast across the whole organization all at the same time, and it's going to cause a lot of opportunity and a lot of disruption depending on the industry and the activities involved. So let's dig into that. First up, maybe I'm an executive at a large organization and I want to understand how simulation tools could help me maybe understand how better to organize my business. So instead of going off to a global consulting and paying 100,000 euros for a upfront feasibility study, why don't we use a bit of generative AI? So let's go into ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT to write us 3 paragraphs on how computer simulation tools could be used to design corporate organizations. See what it comes up with. So there you go, some high-level insights on where we could start from. First up, it gives us a bit of insight into how simulation tools could be used to analyze centralized versus decentralized structures, and also the implications of different communication protocol across the whole performance of the organization. Another piece of advice it gives us is that the simulation tools could be used to analyze different business processes and the overall performance, whether that's in manufacturing processes or production. Simulating an organizational transformation could help you understand which bottlenecks to avoid. And of course, we can rerun this scenario, we can go in, we can ask it more specific questions, and we could get deeper insights, thus saving us a lot of time and a lot of money. We also might want a bit of help in selling the use of simulation tools within an organization for redesigning it. We could go into a generative AI tool such as Tome and ask it to help us build a high-level presentation on the benefits of using simulation tools for organizational design. So let's give that a shot. So there you go, it's given us 8 slides, kicking off with a title and then an agenda of what it's going to talk about. A bit on use cases, something on the benefits, a lot of robots in the artwork there, and which is kind of scary. Some use cases around the tools about this is actually pretty close to what we were getting out of ChatGPT a minute ago when we entered that query. Pretty much the same kind of stuff. Then you can go in and you can do more. But what it basically does is it gives you ideas. Again, you probably pay some consultant a considerable amount of money to get some kind of high-level presentation like this anyway. So it unlocks ideas. So if we think about organizations of all types, especially on the commercial side, you get these large corporations with lots of interdependencies, matrix, silos, and they tend to grow very quickly and they become very complicated very, very fast. Now, one of the things that organizations and leaders are going to be able to do very, very soon is to be able to render their business model transformations, organizational changes in real time using some kind of digital twin. If you think about how, for example, architects or car designers, aerospace designers have been using CAD/CAM tools for many years in order to take a lot of the complexity and speed up the design process for their various products and services. The question is, why have organizations lagged so far behind the engineers? Well, I think that this is going to speed up now, and organizations of all types are going to be able to render and simulate the impact of assumptions that they put into their business plans, and they're going to be able to respond very, very quickly. If they don't try this and if they don't respond fast, then they're going to be out of business. because that snow at the edge of the organization in terms of generative AI and the opportunities it brings to disruptors and new entrants to transform entire industries and indeed create new ones is going to wipe out a lot of big organizations unless they do something about it. So what's it going to mean when you can actually combine real-time rendering of business models and organization structures together with generative AI such as ChatGPT and other emerging tools? Well, first off, it's going to compress the amount of time it takes to actually understand how to shift an organization, how to reconfigure it, how to change its business model. That's going to be of enormous benefit to organizations. Secondly, it's going to save a lot of cost. Organizations are going to be able to cut down on their external consulting fees, whereby they bring external experts in to help them try and understand which way they should shift their organizations and how. They're going to be able to do that themselves now. You're going to get a lot of organizations, especially startups, who are going to start using these tools from day one. They're going to be combining generative AI with the ability to render their business model, their organizations, and prevent themselves from making a lot of mistakes as they scale. Next opportunity, of course, is around mergers and acquisitions. Very often there's a lot of uncertainty and risk around mergers and acquisitions, not just in terms of should you buy them, but in terms of how you integrate them and exploit the synergies of combining the two organizations. You're going to be able to render a lot of that insight up front by inputting all of the parameters into the models so that you're going to be able to make much more balanced decisions. And I think that that's going to have a dramatic impact in the number of acquisitions that actually take place. And finally, it's going to transform executive education. And it's interesting to speculate about what's going to happen to the fabled executive MBA.